Hello and welcome back to Hardcore Minecraft Season 2, Episode 61. Now, you kind of still see the plans behind me. We are getting started on that today. Now, I have actually AFK'd this farm. I've gotten a bit of gunpowder, not much. And this is just for me AFKing for like a little bit. I do have like a stack sitting in here, waiting for me to use it. I still have some rockets left over in my ender chest, so I'm not too worried about actually getting a whole bunch of gunpowder right now. But today we are focusing on this farm. Now, the whole thing with this farm is I'm not even sure if these plants are actually going to fit it. I'm going to take this entire plantscape down and focus on one side at a time. I do have all the materials kind of put together to do both sides of this bottom portion today. That is not the right box. I put it in this box. There we go. I have enough to do one side or the other. Now, I still do have a pumpkin farm, like an actual manual one all the way over there. So I don't need pumpkins up right now. I'm mainly doing this for watermelons. So I think we are just going to get started with one side of this. Well, first of all, I gotta take this entire thing down, and then I've got to get started on it. So I will bring you back once I take this entire thing down and get started on the redstone. Okay, now I am going to keep the center line in here because this is going to direct me as to where I need them. So it's going to kind of tell me how far apart they have to be and things of that nature. Now, I have a whole bunch of extra dirt. I do have stone, I have hoppers, I have all types of stuff that I'm going to be using. I also have this, which was meant for me to be building around it. So whenever I get the actual redstone components in, which is going to take a bit of work, I'm actually probably going to reuse some of this. And I'm also going to need a whole bunch of water. So I'm actually, for the temporary time being, going to actually, I know water's right there, but due to the type of coast it is, it's actually not going to do what I want it to. It's actually just going to mess up my coastline if I try using the water from over there. So instead, I'm just going to make an infinite water source right here, just so I don't mess up my coastline at all. Now, I have to actually get started on this farm. Now, it's pretty basic. I just basically need a piece of dirt here. I'm actually going to need to surround it in something, so that's where the stone comes in. Now, this spot is empty because this is actually where I'm going to put my water in. And then after I till the land, I actually already have my hoe out, and I'm going to need my melon seeds. Till this. Put the seed in, and then I can place my observer using that seed as a bank, I think. Actually, I probably need bone meal for this. What am I thinking? These wings are so useful. Can I not target the plant? Hello? Oh, there we go. Just wasn't big enough. There we go. Having to finagle with it. Okay. Now the observers are actually going to look at the plant, and when it changes, it will move the pistons that are beside it. Now this is where I'm actually going to need some extra blocks that I'm going to need to take down, because I'm going to have to angle the pistons properly. And then put redstone signal back behind it. And this actually needs another filler block here. And then that's basically the redstone pods we have to work with. And we have to do that all the way down. Okay. One side done. Now this actually hasn't produced any melons just yet. So I only have 7 more seeds to go with, which is going to give us about halfway done with this one. Because each side is 8. So I'll be short 1. But I was right about the sizing, which is good. Now, I've got to run around and do the same thing for this side. Okay. Now, there's both sides of that figured out. Now, time to get some of the walls around this thing. I was far enough away for creepers to spawn? Excuse? Okay. Passive gunpowder, let's go. Okay, but the whole idea is to get cobblestone completely around this guy. And then eventually do a water stream that kind of dips out of here and actually walks into here. Because if you remember down here, I actually have a collection system that I have already ready to break into with my melons. Problem is getting them there. Oh, more melons. Speaking of which, I have half a stack already. Problem is getting them there, and I think honestly I'm going to do a bit of an expansion out the front of these guys. I think I'm going to go like 3 blocks maybe? Going across this entire area. So I'm going to cross the entire front of this guy. So it's going to be on this one too, so that's... Now here comes the fun part. The part that's actually really freaking complicated. I actually have to get a water stream to push them all down here. Granted, I'm probably going to make this look pretty first, because this currently looks awful. But I have it set to where the water stream will collide down here with my other collection room. The chests are actually underneath these stairs, and the hoppers are going into the chests. So this should, in theory, work. Is it actually going to work for me? I don't know. Okay, and some melons are just going to get stuck. That's just how things work with melon farms. But due to me building around this, I am going to be able to AFK basically over here. So we will be able to, after I get done doing all the decorative bits, able to check to make sure the collection system is actually working. Because that is a worry I have. Let's actually go down here and look. Hey, we actually do have melons down here. Okay. Coolio. I'm actually just going to recomplete the wall here. Just do that and then do this. And it's my melon farm. Cool. Now eventually that is also going to be collecting pumpkins, and I can make the storage system for it bigger. But for the time being, that's actually not bad. Okay, and now we are ready to get started on this portion of the building. Now, I am going to have to just quickly put a stone wall. If we can find out where all my stone went. I actually don't have any. Okay. So that means I'm going to have to make a run. I'm probably just going to take this box. I'm going to have to make a run and get more stone and more cobblestone because I actually don't have enough to actually finish this. So, I'm just going to get my little rockets in hand and I'm going to go take off. If I can actually get into the air. There we go. Also, something that kind of happened in between episodes, I have llamas here now. I had 2 wandering traders spawn at the same time, and one of them just dropped their llamas off at my base. So they are now tamed, and I was going to originally put some sweet berries over here, but instead I just put like a little llama pen. Maybe they're used to transport things from the dock up to here, so they're just kind of here now. But I just kind of decided to stick them there, because I had no clue what else to do with them. Now, I'm going to quickly, off camera, completely do this side. You've seen me set up the watermelon side. It's essentially the same thing. The only difference is instead of watermelon slices, we're getting pumpkins out of it. So I'm going to quickly take everything I need and get that all set up. Okay, good heavens. That is one side in. Pumpkin! I'm going to end up having a lot of those in my inventory. I'm going to go quickly grab some cobblestone so I can start getting the walls and stuff in place as well. Alrighty. Full farm is in place. Collection systems, everything. Everything's good to go on this thing. Now, the second story to this building, I actually kind of want to go a little bit differently, and I kind of want to put glass so you can see through to the farm. So I can kind of see and make sure if anything breaks, I can see it. And not to mention, on the second story, I kind of want to put some stairs onto this platform here. So if I need to get down into the farm, I have a way to get into it. Oh, and there goes Pumpkin. Okay. I had enough to do at least the framing. Now it does have two of these almost identical wings. I actually think this one's a bit smaller because the space I had to work with was a bit smaller. But this one over here is a lot bigger. So we do have like these little side rooms that I could probably use to keep villagers in eventually. But for the time being, they're just going to kind of be empty. And then I also have this back piece. Now this is where the water streams actually are. So I just wanted something back here to kind of cover up that the water streams were there. And I just did another one of these little dip outs. So the building itself is actually massive. Hold on. If I can get up in the air. Hold on. We're just going to do a little bit of a flyover. Building itself is actually massive. It's actually bigger than my starter house. It's actually, again, what, you know what, I'm not even going to pay attention to the iron golem that's in the roof. But this thing is actually massive, massive. Ow. Now, it doesn't have an actual doorway here. And I don't think I'm going to do another one of the fake doorways that's here. I think I'm just going to leave this blank. And then do some more stuff out on these. Now I may actually do like, also I figured out which tree I was missing. Ironically, with melons on my mind, I can think of that. Jungle. Jungle is the last tree I'm missing. So whenever I get jungle trees, I may end up growing them over here next to the, like, the melon pumpkin farm. Because it just makes sense since melons are already here. So I may end up doing like a little plot of them over here. But let's kind of see what we've got going on so far. And there we go. The farms are up and working. They're doing great. Now, granted, I do have to AFK them, and while I'm here, they are just going to keep working. Now, next episode is actually going to be all about finishing these guys up. The creeper farm, I have to do a double tier on it, so I have to get around to actually putting in the second level of it. So that's going to be done next episode. And then we have to finish off, if I can, or at least start the finishing off of the melon pumpkin farm. I have to slap a roof on it, which is going to take a buttload of glass, so I have to start smelting glass. I have to get an actual second story on it. I have to figure out what I'm going to do with this building, whether or not I'm going to cut it down and make it actually just a little shed instead. Because right now, the bigger building next to it is probably going to just demolish it. So I'm thinking about taking the top floor of it off and just making it like a small little shed that's out front. Or maybe just removing it in general and doing one of my gardens out front and then just doing like I did with the sugarcane farm and just doing like a little drop down maybe. I don't know, but for right now the shed's going to stay in place. And that is going to be all for this episode. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!